Hi mga ka-ICT! So for today's video is we will talk about the occupational health and safety and the external and internal parts of the computer. OHS stands for Occupational Health and Safety. So occupational health and safety is a cross-disciplinary area concerned with protecting the safety and welfare of people engaged in work. So, the goal of occupational health and safety programs is to foster a safe work environment, not just only for the technician but also for the computer itself. So, as a secondary effect, it may also protect your co-workers, family members, employers, customers, suppliers, neighbor communities, and other members of public who are impacted by the workplace environment. And also, the occupational health and safety is give you a low risk and avoid accidents to have a better workplace and the safety workplace. So there is OHS for workplace, for the computer system, and for the technician. So the OHS for the workplace is first, clean the area before and after using it to maintain sanitation and prevent accident. And also, the working area should have ventilation, trash cans, fire exit, and capable of being disinfected. When possible, try to avoid working in carpeted areas because carpeted area are greatly increases the static buildup within your body. When working on a computer, avoid places that are damp, subject to temperature extremes, dirty or dusty. And the last one is the table should be clean and non-metallic to avoid short circuits. The second one is the OHS for the computer system. Always power off and unplug the computer before working on it. Hold the components by the edge and do not touch the ICs. Handle all sensitive components in non-conducting metallic edge to avoid electric circuits. Be careful and use tapes to cover the sharp edges inside the computer case. Do not use excessive force when installing computer components to prevent damage. Take care when connecting or disconnecting cables. When disconnecting a cable, always pull a cable connector or strain relief loop, not on the cable itself. So the last one is, do not clean your computer with wet clothes or any liquid detergents to avoid accident and also to avoid electric circuits. Instead, use brush, compressed air, or blower in cleaning the computer system. So lastly is the OHS for the technician. So number 1, read and follow instructions and the manual carefully to avoid confusion. Number 2, always discharge yourself before touching any parts of computer. So there is an easy way to discharge yourself by rubbing your hands or rubbing your palms. So number 3 is do not eat, drink or smoke when working on your computer because eating near your computer can attract ants that can damage your computer. So lastly is remove all your jewelries on your hands when working on your computer because jewelries are a high metallic materials or a high conductive materials that can attract electricity. So that's all for occupational health and safety. So moving on, we will talk about the external components of computer. So the first one is the mouse. So mouse is a pointing device that sends signal into the computer. It is used to move the cursor, usually the arrow icon, on the screen and to perform click actions. So the second one is the monitor. So monitor is used to display data in visual form. So for example, pictures. You can see the pictures in a visual form through the monitor. So the third one is the keyboard. So this keyboard contains set of keys that are used to input characters such as letters or numbers, and also it give a control signals into the computer. So For example, in coding, you use keyboard to input letters, numbers to the computer, and also to give signal. For example, Control plus Alt plus Delete. So when you click that one on the keyboard, the computer will automatically turn off or power off. So the fourth one is the automatic voltage regulator, or the AVR. So the AVR protects the computer from changes in the electricity that may damage the computer components. So it regulates the voltage that goes to the computer. So the main function of this is to protect the computer from changes of electricity that can damage the computer components, and also to avoid overheating of the computer. So the last one is the system unit. So system unit is a container of computer's internal parts. So the main function of this is serves as a container of internal parts of the computer, which is the motherboard, the CPU, the BIOS chip, the CMOS RAM, and etc. So we are done in the external components of the computer. So now we will move to the internal parts or components of the computer. So the first one is the RAM, or the Random Access Memory Module. So the Random Access Memory Module is the temporary storage of the computer. So the second one is the Central Processing Unit, or the CPU. So CPU is referred as the computer's brain, as it does the processing job of the computer. So the CPU, or the computer's brain, is responsible for manipulating the data and also the processing job of the computer. So without this, your computer will not work and will not process data. And the third one is the CPU fan and the heat sink. So these two components work together in keeping the CPU from overheating. So these components help each other or work together to keep the CPU from overheating. The fourth one is the system fan. So the system fan is found at the left side panel of the back panel of the system unit, and it directs the flow of air into the system unit. So this system fan help also to avoid or to make sure that the system unit will not overheating. The fifth one is the power supply unit, or the PSU. So the PSU converts the main alternating current into low voltage direct current that is supplied to other parts. So the main function of power supply unit is to supply power or electricity to all other parts of the computer. The sixth one is the hard disk drive, or the HDD. The HDD is the main storage device of the computer, so it is where the system's software in and the other data. The seventh one is the optical disk drive. So the optical disk drive, it reads or writes data into optical disk. So the function of optical disk is it can reads data from optical disk and it writes data into an optical disk, such as CD, DVD, and Blu-ray disc. So the last one is the motherboard. So motherboard, it is the main circuit board of the computer that connects all the other parts. So the motherboard is the largest board you can see in the system unit, and all the parts of computer are connected to it. Board has 11 parts. So the first one is the expansion slots. The expansion slots are where the expansion cards such as modern card and graphics card are installed. The second one is the RAM slots. So RAM slots, these are where the RAM modules are installed. So in short, dito nilalagay or ina-attach ang random access module para gumana. The third one is the North Bridge. It is located between the CPU socket, expansion slots, and RAM slots. The North Bridge coordinates the flow of data between the CPU, graphics card, and random access module. The fourth one is the South Bridge. The South Bridges handles all the computer's input and output functions. The fifth one is the BIOS chip. So BIOS stands for Basic Input and Output System. It contains the program that checks the devices to know the computer is ready to start up. And one features of BIOS chip is the time and date. So, for example, if your cell phone is turned off, the time and date will automatically work even if your phone is off. So that's one of the function of BIOS chip. The sixth one is the CMOS RAM. CMOS RAM is the one that holds data used by the BIOS chip or operating system. This includes time, date, and BIOS password. The seventh one is the CMOS battery. The CMOS battery provides the power used by the CMOS RAM so that even the computer is off, the CMOS RAM can still keep data. So this means time and date will not be reset. So the eighth one is the back panel ports. Back panel ports are located at the back of the motherboard. This is where the most of the computer peripherals are connected. These peripherals include the keyboard, mouse, and printer. Example of peripherals are VGA, UTP cable, and power cords. So it's just like a saksakan for them. And it is where all the peripherals are connected. The ninth one is the front panel headers. It is mostly located at the left and front side of the motherboard. Most computers have three front panel: the system panel, the audio, and the USB headers. The 10th one is the CPU socket. CPU socket, it is where the CPU is installed. So it means this is where you attach the CPU to install. And the last one is the CPU fan header. It is where the CPU fan is connected to get its power. So without the CPU fan header, the CPU fan will not work. And that's all for today mga ka-ICTians. I hope you learned something from me today. And if you like my video, just hit the subscribe button and notification bell. Thank you!